Well, this evening with the CHS Rotary, I want to welcome our guest, retired Judge Richard Disalle. I got it right?
Yes, you did.
And let's just, we're going to ask some candid, I'm going to try to put you on the spot. Can I do that? Because you judges put us on the spot, so it's our turn to do it to you. Okay?
I told them you were going to cross-examine me. And
cross-examine you. Well, I always wanted to be an attorney, but that brings up a good point. At one point in life, did you decide that you wanted to be a judge? Were you running around the house saying, "We're not doing it that way, Mom"? How did that work?
I didn't realize that I was even thinking about being a judge until I was the first assistant district attorney in Washington County, and I fully expected the district attorney, who was a very close friend of mine, to run for judge, and unfortunately, he suffered a heart attack a couple of months before the primary election, and I went up to see him in the hospital, and I said, "Jess, I'm sorry that you're not going to be able to run." He said, "Well, we've already picked another candidate." I said, "Oh, who is that?" He said, "That's you." That was the first inkling or even a suggestion that I was going to be running for judge.
Right. So you're a little surprised.
I was.
Let's drop back to high school. I always find this to be interesting. Just some off-the-wall questions. Were you in sports?
Yes.
You were in sports. What'd you play?
I played football and baseball.
Football and baseball. Did you have a lot of girlfriends?
Not a lot. I think less than 100.
Less than 100. That's interesting. So is that a prerequisite to being a judge, having a lot of girlfriends?
Yes, because you'll get a lot later.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, when does that happen, and how does that work?
The minute you're elected,
suddenly you have a lot of girlfriends.
Suddenly they realize that you're
married, right?
That you're a person. Yes.
Okay. How long have you been married?
I've been with the same woman for 60 years.
Oh, my God, 60 years.
And if my wife ever finds out about it, she's going to kill me.
So you've been with the same woman for 60 years.
Yes, in fact, we celebrated our 60th anniversary on January the 7th of this year.
And I understand that you celebrated a birthday.
Yes, a couple of weeks ago, I became 89 years of age.
89. But you just retired.
In December of 87.
So you were an active, you were a judge on 3 different, I don't know the proper terminology, courts.
Yes.
How does that go? Maybe you could tell us.
I was a judge of the Court of Common Pleas of this county, well, Washington County, for 8 years. Then I was appointed to the Commonwealth Court by Governor Shapp, and I served on that court for 2 years. It's an intermediate appellate court, statewide appellate court. And following that, I was appointed by Governor Thornburg to the Superior Court, which is also an intermediate appellate court, a statewide appellate court. So I have the distinction of, I think I'm the only person that can say this, of having been appointed to 2 different appellate courts by 2 different governors of 2 different parties.
Wow, that's incredible. So let me ask you a few other questions. Now you have, in the 60 years, you have children.
Yes.
That's good. How many do you have?
We have 6 children.
And you were giving me a rundown earlier on your children. Tell us a little about each one, because your children, let me back up. What did your dad do? Was he a judge?
No, he was an immigrant from Italy. He had 3 months of schooling in Italy and none in this country. And my mother was also an uneducated person. She was born here. My father was born in Abruzzo, Italy, and my mother was born here. But she didn't even have a high school education.
That's amazing. So did you just come home one day and say, "I'm going to college"? Or how did that work?
Well, I got a scholarship. That's what got me into college.
You must have been smart. I'll tell you. You got a scholarship.
Yes, I got a scholarship, and that otherwise I probably would not have gone to college because we couldn't afford it.
What was your first job?
My first job was working in a cinder block company, the Chartier Cinder Block Company between Canonsburg and Houston, and we used to unload 45 concrete blocks off the skids and pile them up in the yard.
And you said, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to be a judge. This just isn't working. Not good labor, huh? So that was your first job. So you became a lawyer. And, back to the 6 kids. We're jumping around. Let's start with John.
John's a judge also. He's a judge here in Washington County. And he is our 4th child.
Mm-hmm. And then there's Joe.
Joe is trying to get a start in opera in New York City.
Do you sing?
I sing in the bathroom.
Oh, do you really? I never heard that song. Okay.
It gurgles a little bit.
Oh, does it? And then there's Francis.
Francis is a partner in the law firm of Thomas and Hafer, which is on
the law firm you were in.
The law firm I was in, yes. And there's Robert, who's a professor at the University of Ontario, Western Ontario in Canada. He right now is in Germany, speaking in Konstanz, Germany, southwestern Germany. He gets invited to different parts of Europe to speak frequently on the philosophy of science, which is his field and the field that he teaches. He talks about Einstein and Isaac Newton and falling apples and things
I met
like
him
that.
at the Washington Jazz Society at the brunch, and I said, what do you do? He goes, well, I'm the black sheep of the family. And I thought, well, I won't ask any more questions. Then later on, I go, well, what do you do? And he laid all that on me, and I said, you're the black sheep of the family? Wow, that's amazing. And then Mike?
Now, John is a very bright guy. We're very proud of him. He's not only a judge, but he's an excellent jazz musician, plays the saxophone with real jazz. And
he's an airplane pilot.
And he's an airplane pilot.
I had to say that.
And he's a dog lover.
Oh, great. And then we have Mike.
Mike is a physician in Rochester, New York. He's an internist and director of internal medicine at the Unity Hospital in Rochester, New York.
You have the complete setup. You can go to college, have a physician at your right-hand side, have an opera singer at your dinners. You've got the whole thing put together there. That's pretty good.
It wasn't until our 6th child that I found out that what was causing it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you want to share that? Okay. So you celebrated your birthday. You retired only 2 years ago, but I hear that you have a trip in store. You're going somewhere tomorrow.
Tomorrow we're leaving for the Super Bowl.
Wow, you poor thing.
My son, who lived in New York City, was in the neighborhood bar, and he stopped in, which he visits a couple times a month. And he stopped in one night, and they were passing out flyers to fill applications to take a chance on the Super Bowl. And he filled one out, and they called him 3 days later, told him he won 2 tickets to the bowl, 2 round-trip airline tickets, and 3 nights in a hotel in Frisco. So he invited his father.
Oh, gee, that is really great. Any questions from those in yeah, go ahead, Walter.
Judge, I understand you were a Rotarian in the past years.
Yes, I was the president of the Canonsburg Houston Rotary Club.
Canonsburg Houston?
Yes.
Rotary Club?
Yes.
And you also attended the Charleroi Club, is that right?
I was not a member of the Charleroi Club, but I attended there, yes.
Now, which club was the one that evicted you? Was it the
Canonsburg Houston, because
You were evicted from the Rotary Club.
I was.
Cut this, cut this.
I have the honor of being evicted because I missed 3 meetings in a row, and if you missed 3 meetings in a row, you were out.
Well, we have to tell you this in the
Well,
here you get evicted if we remember to do it.
okay. Well, our Rotary has 25% attendance rate. Right,
Does it?
Stephanie? So you may want to reconsider because you can miss 3 meetings in a row and still be a Rotarian. You know, so
Somebody else.
you know, so how can you go wrong? Well, hey, we want to thank you for coming here and sharing your background and experience with us, and hopefully you will consider joining again at CHS Rotary.
Maybe I will.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank all of you.